Hey everyone, what's up and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we're going to be doing something slightly different to what we normally do, and we're going to be looking at a new plugin which has just recently been released by Soundtoys. This plugin is free and it's available for free until the 22nd of May. I will leave a link down in the bio below, so go check that out guys, go download it. It's a cool plugin, it's a reverb plugin. We're going to be looking at how we can use this plugin to make risers specifically today, but we're also going to be looking very briefly at how you could also go about creating types of sounds like atmospheres and textures for your tracks. This is going to be part of a mini series, the Patreon games, which means these are all sounds that are going to be available to you guys to use in the monthly patrons. I'm going to show you how I go about creating some of these sounds, and we're going to look at how we can use some of these sounds to kind of create some ideas as well. So along the way, hopefully you guys will pick up various tips and tricks which you can use in your own production. So feel free, if you have any questions or requests, to leave a comment down below as well. And without any further ado, let's get right into it. Here we go. Okay, so here we are inside of the door. You can see I've already bounced down a few things here. So there's a few audios which have come from a sound that I made inside of Vital. So let's just go and have a look at the sound that I created in Vital first, as this is the sound we're going to be using for this demonstration of this plugin. So here's Vital. Let's open her up and let's have a look what I did. So as you can see, oscillator 1 is just a default wavetable. It's got 3 voices and that's at 14%, and the random is down on 0. That's all that's going on the oscillator. And then the main envelope, the amplitude envelope, has got the release turned up a lot. So it's got a bit of a tail when you release the sounds. And the glide has also been turned up a little bit, so it's very subtle, and it's on always glide and legato. You can be more obvious with this glide if you want to. Coming to the effects, you can also see that there's not much going on in the effects. This is a very basic sound, which you'll find is a common thing. Less is more a lot of the time, and basic sounds are used a lot. So this is very simple. There's a bit of chorus to thicken it up. There's a bit of equalizer to take off the bottoms, as this is a sort of pad key sound. There's a phaser to give it a bit of movement in the background, a filter that I can use which has been assigned to the macro. This just allows me to kind of put any automation if I want to and take off some of the top ends, and just to give it a bit of sort of room emulation. There's a reverb here that's got the bottoms taken off so that they're not affected by it, and the time and mix has been turned up a bit, I think. And that's it. It's a very, very simple sound, like I said. So let's have a listen to this sound. As I mentioned, I've mixed it down already. So let's come over here to this one and solo this and just have a listen. The chord looks like this in the MIDI. Here's the original MIDI, and it's like this. You can see there's 2 notes here playing together. This is a common technique if you want to create some kind of tension in your notes and sort of darker sort of sounds. It's a common technique used by people like Ed Rush and Optical back in the sort of techstep days to create that kind of eerie, dark sort of sound. Have a go at doing that. As you can see, you could just play triad chords, and by putting 2 notes together, you'll create that kind of dissonant sound. So have a go at doing that if you want to come up with some kind of dark, suspenseful type chords. There's the first trick for today and of this series. So moving on from that, we've also got the individual notes playing here as well. It was something like this. Very simple, and it came out like this. So let's listen to this one. Make sure we solo it. Like I said, very simple. There we go. So that's how that sounds on its own. And what we're going to do is we're going to be running these through this new effect. So without further ado, let's go and have a look at this new effect. So we're going to be using this section here first to look at this plugin, and we're going to create atmospheres with this. So this is the reason I've got kind of notes playing continuously here. You could just use one note as well if you wanted to, using one of the functions in this plugin. So let's have a look at this plugin. Let's go to Soundtoys. as it's by them. And then here we got Spaceblender. So we're going to open Spaceblender. Here it is. This is what she looks like. Imaginary space machine. All sounds very fancy. And this is a creative experimental reverb. So like I said a minute ago, you could use one sound and you could use this freeze function here. So you can capture a moment of the sound and it will kind of hold that moment, freeze that moment, which means that moment will continue playing continuously. So that's a cool function if you wanted to just use one note and create some kind of atmosphere texture just using the sound that you've captured and liked. This little knob up here, or this little dot up here, should I say, allows you to kind of play with the shape of the sound, as you can see here, so you create swells, etc. We're going to be using it like this today, so it's just going to play the whole thing. Okay, and as you can see, there's minimal controls, which is quite nice sometimes. It stops you from getting overwhelmed with everything in front of you, less confusion. So nice and easy, just minimal controls. We're going to look, like I said, at how we can use it, first of all, to create these kind of swell, atmospheric type sounds. So let's have a little play with it and see what it does. Here we go. Okay, so you get a little idea there of how you could use this to create atmospheres, swells, etc. It was a very brief demonstration because, like I mentioned to you, the focus here is not on this type of sound, but that's just a quick demonstration to see or show you what you could do with this as well in that respect. So at the very end of that as well, you did hear me do a kind of riser, right? So that brings us neatly over to the next section of this video, which is how to use this to make the risers, which is our main focus. So let's get into that now. Here we go. So we're going to come over here and use this individual sound this time to do this one. As you can see, you could use this part over here. We could use the freeze function, but we're actually going to just use the warp here. We're going to reset the time, the color, the texture, the mod, and the mix. I'm going to have the mix all the way up to 100%. And I'm going to be controlling the color and the time to do this. So I'm actually going to put the time on 100% as well. I might turn these two up as well, all the way, so we get full texture, full mod here. And let's go into our automation lane. So I'm just going to move this over here, and let's open our automation lane here. I'm going to deselect all for the moment here. This little star, what this means, you'll see in a second. So let's first of all click on the thing we want to automate, which first of all is time. So I click on time, it now appears here. I believe this is the same in Ableton, from what I remember, which means this will appear in your automation lane, the last thing you click on. I'm going to have this go from 100 all the way down to, I'm actually going to move this to 40, I think, because if you go to 100, you'll find the timing goes a bit weird if you go all the way. So I'm going to try it to 40 to start with and see how that works out, because I want this riser to go 4 bars. So from 1 all the way to here is where it should end. So we're also going to control something else though, and that's going to be this color. So I'm going to click on color, and now color appears here. But you can see the other one disappeared. So like I mentioned a minute ago, this button here, if I press this, this now allows me to see anything that I'm automating. So all the automation lanes will appear here if you have this selected. There's a similar function in Ableton, I believe, as well, to allow you to see them all. And this one's going to go up, this color, to 100%. Like that, and let's see what we end up with. Sometimes you might need this to loop around a few times to capture the right sound. We're going to get this to play around, and I think as we do this, we're going to record this as well. So I'm going to record this into an audio. So I'm going to set up an audio, and I'm going to make sure that this has the input coming from the channel, which is the chord 1 channel. There we go. And then I'm going to arm this as well, so that it's going to receive. I'm going to make sure that this is not armed, so it doesn't record up here, but just down here. I'm going to mute this as well, so that when I do record, I'm not getting the output through here at the same time that I get it out here, which means you'll get a sort of doubled up sound, which we don't want. We just want to hear the original. It won't affect the recording if you do. It's just purely so we don't have to listen to both of them playing together. Let's press record and let's let this loop round. So I'm going to put loop on so it does loop round. And we could also change the loop length. It doesn't need to be this long, so it could be like to there, for example, would be absolutely fine. That's all we need. And let's see how this works out. So let's press play and record. Here we go. Okay, I think that will do. We've got a few different takes there, so I'm just going to close the plugin now, and let's go into our takes and see. So we've got like 4, I believe there. Yeah, there's 4 takes. We can just adjust this ending here and make this a whole thing like that. There we go. And then we could just choose the best take. As you can see, they're all slightly different. I don't think the first one's very good because that's weird. Take 3 looks pretty good, and take 4 looks pretty good. So let's have a look at these, because we want it to be ending here, right? This bar here. So these look like they all kind of come up to that bar. So let's remove this one, and we're left with these 2 here. So we've got 2 options now. We've got this one, or we got this one. Okay, so let's move this into audio events mode. Let's just grab both of these. So what we're going to do is just make this longer, so we can take both of these. That's it, like that. And then we end up with this. And we're going to choose these, so we can come in here and we can start like cutting these if we wanted to. And then what you can do, I believe, is let's move this one here and this one and go here. So we now end up with 2 separate things out here, just as audios. Let's slide this over as well like that, so that was slightly off. That's better. And let's put these at the beginning here, so we go in this space. So I could put this on a new channel. So now we've got these 2 different takes here. Okay, let's listen to these and check them out. So here we go. Number 1 sounds like this. That's the first one, and then the second one sounded like this. Okay, I think I kind of prefer this one slightly, but they're both quite cool. So what else can we do to these? Well, we could put some fades on these to start with, so that they fade in, so they're not so aggressive at the beginning. We'll do that to both of these. We'll do these both at the same time. I also like to kind of just move these so they just stop exactly there. And then later on, you could put a little bit of reverb if you wanted to, so it fits into your track properly. But at the impact of these things coming in, I don't want anything to interfere mix-wise with these things coming in. So you've got your kick drum coming in at the beginning and your note coming in at the beginning here. You don't want to add an extra layer of sound that doesn't really need to be there on here. So for the moment, I'm just going to leave this ending exactly there. Okay, we can listen to how that sounds going into like this little idea here. This chord sound was also made from the Spaceblender, so this is kind of an idea that I created using that. I will be creating lots more very shortly as well, which will also be going into this month's Patreon, and then we will be looking at those as well as to how we can use these to create some kind of ideas. So this is all part of the series. So like I say, guys, make sure you stick around to catch all the tips and tricks that will be involved in this mini series of creating ideas and tracks using sounds that we create through sound design. So let's have a listen to this now and see how this goes into this idea. So obviously you can add effects to this, take the bottom end off of this with an EQ, etc. There's lots more we could do to this. But for today's video, that's basically what I wanted to share with you, is how you can use this plugin to create these kind of riser sounds. You can also create down risers with it if you put the time the other way. So let's just go back to it just to show you what I mean very quickly. Coming into this plugin, which was up here, let's go into here. And basically, like I said, just turn the time the other way so it goes this way instead of going this way. And then you'll end up with down risers as well. So there we go, guys. I hope this was useful for you. Go ahead and download this plugin. It is really cool. So I hope you learned something here. I'm now going to continue playing with this and create some more ideas and sounds, which, like I said, will go into the Patreon folder for May, and we'll be using in this series of the Patreon games where we come up with ideas for tracks using the sounds that you get monthly in the Patreon membership. So thanks very much for your time, guys. Thanks for watching. Until the next one, take care of yourself and peace.